What's up, guys? Tambo here with your weekly core report. It's a big week for Run Pure members across both NBA and NFL. Let's get into the winners. In the NBA streets, Bowl 800 turned $12 into 4K. C. Corms turned $76 into 4K as well. Leroy hit for $4,600, while Y Guy 223 shipped for $12,000. Our guy AP joined in the fun, hitting for $8,000. Turning to NFL, it was another great week for us, especially when it came to Showdown. I parlayed my appearance on our premium Thursday night Print Factory show into 61K, featuring a lineup with Dallas Goedert in the captain spot. RPS coordinators were all over the Goedert captain play, appearing not only in my premium attack plan, but Mangone pushed it as well, helping Nadesify ship for over 67K, while Pete Vegas hit for $7,200 over on FanDuel. But the biggest hit came on Monday Night Showdown, where RPS content was all over Kenyon Drake in the captain spot. Captain Drake was pushed on our free Showdown show by special guest Chris Randone, in addition to our Talking Touchdown show with Spread, Tyler, and Title, where Tyler called his shot, nailing the Drake call ahead of shipping $29,000 for himself.
75% of carries, like he's going to be unowned, like low owned because of his price. He's got to be even more low owned as a captain because his price jumps even more. If he scores 2 touchdowns in this one, you could be golden. Guys,
if you have not subscribed to our free YouTube channel, take a second right now and get it done. Racer 1A joined in with a 10K hit from Showdown. Kanoski 69 hit for 22K as well. Locks rode Drake Captain to a 30K score to continue his heater, while I shipped 2 more King of the Beach seats. But the biggest win was by Run Pure member Homebrew, who hit the perfect unique lineup, solo shipping for a monster $500,000. He joined our NFL First Look show to talk about his big night.
Randone just mentioned at the end of the show, the very end, it was the last lineup I made. It was the end of the show, and he said, Kenyon Drake, captain. And I was like, well, I don't have one of those. Let me make one of those.
Congrats again to all our members. If you want to be featured in the core report, drop your winning lineup in the Members Never Win channel in our premium Discord. If you're not a member, join now. You won't find a better value with all sports included for one low price. And while you're watching, hit that like button right now. Remember, if you're not winning with us, you're watching us win. Until next time, let's keep running pure. What's up, everyone? Tyler Tamboline here, aka Toe Tag and Tambo, back for the Wednesday Hardwood edition here on the Run Pure Sports YouTube channel. If you're just joining us, do us a favor on the way in, hit that like button, hit that big red subscribe button in the bottom, gets you notified for all the free shows that we'll be doing. We have an absolutely huge slate on deck today. FanDuel changed it up a little. I already saw folks worried in the chat. We will talk about that Dallas-Orlando game quick out of the gate so you guys can get that stuff in. If you're a member at Run Pure Sports over there, cores are already going up, playbooks are up, heat maps, everything, all of it's there for you to be able to get in. If you don't want to play anyone from the first game on FanDuel because they moved the slate to 5:30 Eastern, you can just set your lineup up with all guys later on, edit it throughout the night as we go along, backload, as our guy like Mangone likes to say. You can backload all night long, wait for that injury news. Got my guys here with me. Title, Locks, Title, I'm going to bring you in first. Rocking the FanDuel hat. Big fan, he said over there. Big fan of the FanDuel. What's going on, Title?
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind the extra game that starts an hour and a half earlier. It's inconvenient for a lot of people, which kind of, I guess, is why I like it. People going home from work or that. It's an interesting game. I mean, Paulo was ruled out for the Orlando side. Without Giannis, we have a ton of value today. Chris Paul. So Luka is the talking point. I think he'll be the highest owned in that game for sure. You don't need to play him by any means. There's Jokic, there's KD. I mean, this is a monster slate. We talked Monday. We had all 30 teams, 15 games on it. DK's got 12. FanDuel's got 13 games. So another monster slate. There's no musts in that first game on FanDuel. But I think there's a couple pieces you can go to with injuries. The big slate overview, Giannis, Drew ruled out. The Bucks are very good plays. Chris Paul ruled out. Campaign's going to be very popular. There's Booker there. And we're still waiting on a lot of news as well. I mean, Trae Young was ruled out last game. We can see what we saw what DeJounte did. And there's Hunter, John Collins. I mean, there's so much news on this slate. We'll go game by game, help everyone out as always, but excited to talk some hoops.
Yeah, like I said, we'll give the 2-minute intro like always, then we will get right to that game just so people can have the thoughts early. You mentioned it with Wood already being out on the Dallas side, with Banchero being ruled out, all those factors, Luka being there at a very affordable price on FanDuel in the sense of the studs. Like there's only so many you can pick from. You can get to them easily at 11-8. Not affordable, but easy to get into your lineup is what I'm trying to say. Locks, bring you in, man. How you doing this Wednesday? What are your first thoughts on the slate? Overview from you as we jump into it.
Yeah, definitely excited for another day, another Wednesday with the solid crew here. We've been shipping a lot, so looking to keep it going. Slate's interesting. I don't get over to FanDuel a whole lot, but definitely interesting to have that one extra early game. I'll be jamming Luka for sure. Not much else from that game. Maybe a little bit of Okiki since he's starting at 4-1, but yeah, just excited to dive into slate. A lot of exciting news we're waiting on, and obviously just stay in the Discord and be ready for all that news as we update you on it.
It's definitely a fun slate. Huge tournaments out there as well. FanDuel had the 222 hang time. It's not always the best structure, but 100K up top in a less than 2,000 person field for $222. If you can get to it, that's definitely a good one. Same, likewise, if you have the bankroll for it on DraftKings, 888 is 250K up top. Last time they ran that was the second, kind of the first official night of the season, not the opening 2 game or whatever, but our guy, I think it was Sweet Boy, Eden Cohen shipped it for 250K last time out. So gotta love that. There's some big tournaments across the industry. We're going to talk everything, but Nades knows. He's in the chat. Nadesify title. He says, Luka and Cash, easy. Good segue to the spot. You and I talked before the show. I don't know. I see lower ownership projections across the industry on him, maybe somewhere 15 to 20% range, but it sounds like it's very affordable with all the other injuries and guys out and spots that we have. I just wonder because when we get to the other games later, there is fillers for these point guard, shooting guard spots on FanDuel very easily. So I'll let you start it off. Title, Dallas, Orlando, 214 point total. We already talked about the injuries in that game, but that's the first game that people want to know about as we cross 100 likes and move to 200. Got to get those likes moving, guys. 500 likes for the plays of the day on this big of a slate. Title, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll start with the Magic side quick, and then we'll touch on Dallas. Cole Anthony's also still out for Orlando, so it's not just Paulo. The prices are up pretty high, though, for most of these guys on Orlando, like Franz Wagner, 7-3, Wendell Carter, 7-7, Suggs is 5-9, a little better price tag there. But Chuma Okeke, as Locks mentioned earlier, sliding into the starting lineup, he is 4.1K. I think he is viable. We have a ton of salary savers on this slate, though. A lot of them are at the guard position, as you mentioned. Javon Carter, again, I'm just talking FanDuel, the only spot that they have this first game. Campaign, Javon Carter, there's Luke at the guard position, Fred VanVleet, Terry Rozier. There's a lot of strong guard plays, and you get to the forward position where Chuma Okeke is. He's just power forward eligible. Bobby Portis and Miles Turner definitely stand out as solid plays. Bobby Portis is going to be the chalkiest guy on all sites, probably rightfully so. But the forward position outside of those two, there isn't as much value. I think Chuma's a fine tournament play. Cash play, probably more fringe. I definitely like the Bobby, Portis, Javon, campaign values of the world. But in tournaments, I think he'll be low owned. I think he's fine to get to. You mentioned Dwight Powell. You had some interest there. It's 3.6K, power forward, center eligible. Again, I expect him to be low owned. He's starting. I think he's fine. Again, no must play there. Luka's the one I expect to have the most ownership at 11.8K. It just comes down to when you have all the value in the world. Giannis isn't on the slate to pay for. So there's KD, there's Jokic, there's Luka. He's just projected the best for me. He's been so good this year. The price tag, you don't have to worry about too much. I don't know if I'd call him a must in cash, but I think he's a very strong play. Right now I'm leaning that I'm going to play him as well, but we still got 35 minutes. We still do have a lot of news that can break, but yeah, Luka is the strong play in the first game. Going to get ownership. We have value. Totally the best play. Chuma's fine. Dwight Powell fine. Bobo fine. But it's really Luka or bust kind of is how I see it.
Okay, Locks, I'll get your take on it. I mean, one thing I will say, the Luka spot, the more you look at it, it is easy to fit. Like there's going to be other value that pops up on top of what you can currently put him with. So definitely see where title's coming from there. And cash, like you said, I could see it making perfect sense. Probably a lot of sharp players will be on him to title's point. But other side, Orlando, anything you see there, and then anything else you want to talk about within this game before we move on?
Yeah, not much I see on the Orlando side. Just Okeke that I mentioned at 4-1. Obviously, I'm going to have some Portis too. So I like all that you've been touching on as far as title goes. I don't know. I don't play FanDuel a whole lot. Like I said, I made one lineup today. I have Luka in it. That's pretty much the only guy I got. And then I do have Okeke in there. So that's another one added onto my core. if you want to make my whole team up, you can probably pick it out from there, but that's what I got. So hey, I say Luka or bust for the most part as well.
Hooking up the members. It's a free show, right? Hit that like button if you're here. But it's like you said, if you're dropping it and people are looking at the cores, the site, by the way, the back end, just got to give props to them. I know for everybody out there, it's been tough. We apologize a million times over, but trying to make this thing better. It's all about being proactive, getting ready for the future. It's just the way it goes sometimes, but it's for you. It's to make it better. They have done a phenomenal job behind the scenes. To shout out to our back end team working their ass off to get it ready for you guys. Hopefully everyone wasn't affected too much, but if you are, as we said, we're here for you now. We're going to have that thing up and running, working for you great. It looks awesome. It's been working for me great so far today as well. So appreciate you sticking with us on that stuff. As far as this last little point I would have goes on this game, and either of you, Title, if you want to chime in quick, I was just going to say one I didn't hear a lot of, but Franz Wagner, the thing I keep noticing about FanDuel, because like I got those tickets for the 222, I've been trying to build out some lineups. Small forward sucks, man. Like I mean, maybe you got other guys and we'll get to them later. And I know there's some like that you can slide in from injuries and stuff, but I just can't find as many good small forwards. So I don't mind if you want to go like Luka, Powell, and Wagner, and just have that start. You can kind of just then fill it in with all the good plays. And even if Luka's owned a little bit, will he be owned with those other two? And they're not must-haves or anything. And Wagner's 7,300. He's a bit expensive, but I do think the small forward position is pretty weak. So I don't mind doing something like that in tournaments. Any other thoughts on that, Title? And then if not, we can hop over to that Portland-Charlotte game.
Yeah, no, it's mainly the price tag that I just don't love as much. The 7.3, I wish he was 6.5K. If I do play him, I am definitely going to plug him at the small forward position, not the shooting guard position. Without Paolo, he gets a bump, but man, especially on a 13-game slate on FanDuel, like 35, you don't want even at 7.3K. You want 40 plus. And if news breaks certain ways, the hour and a half wait, there's a lot of important injury news we're waiting on. I don't think I want to lock myself into too much in that game. Now, I'm fine. You like Franz Wagner. You got a read on him. He's going to operate the offense more. He's going to bring the ball up. Sure. I mean, he's going to be 4% owned or something like that. So I will never say no to a play like that. But there's other people in that range. I mean, if you're playing Luka and then you're playing Franz, you're probably not going to be able to play KD with them or Fred VanVleet and Booker or Jokic or stuff like that. So just prices you out of, you don't have as much flexibility with your lineup, lock in two pretty expensive guys in the first game. That's all, but he's going to be very low owned. So yeah, that's fine.
Franz Wagner, that is with the V.
Wagner. Yep.
Yeah, I got big.
I think that's how it's pronounced.
Text in the middle of the show to make sure we get the correct pronunciation. So we got to be correct on this show. So I appreciate that. Please keep sending me those, Big T, throughout the show, and I'll make sure I get it right for you. Nothing else here for me. Let's go to Portland Charlotte, Title. I'll stick with you there, man. 219.5 total. Portland favored on the road. Looks like Lillard is, I believe, probable. I mean, it's a bunch of injury stuff in this game. Nurkic is Q tag. What's your read overview on this game? And then what are some of the plays within it that you like?
Yeah, we do have some injury news in this one. You look at it, we have Nurkic who's questionable. We have Jeremy Grant who's questionable. We're going to get this news before lock. But yeah, I mean, if Nurkic is out, if Grant's out, guys like Josh Hart gets a bump. They're going to need his rebounding even more. Justice Winslow would probably get a little bump. He's 5.2K and stuff now. The Nurkic and Grant, I think Hart's the biggest beneficiary there. Anthony Simons' price is up at 7.4K. I just don't think I can get there with Dame back. Dame at 9.2. I don't see myself getting there as well. I definitely have a lot more interest on the Charlotte side than Portland. Again, I think Josh Hart would get the biggest bump if one of Grant, Nurkic, or both of them were ruled out. As far as the Charlotte side, Terry Rozier put up a stinker on Monday, 7.8K though. I'm perfectly fine going right back to him. The usage is there. The minutes should be there. Good matchup against Portland. I expect a pretty high-paced game. So he is by far my favorite in this game. I think Dennis Smith Jr. is fine at 6.3K. PJ Washington at 6K has been playing pretty good basketball. But again, it's a 12-game slate. We have two games that start at 7 p.m. Eastern. We're going to get news later. I don't think you need to lock yourself into too many spots in this one. Terry is a strong play for sure. Monitor the Nurkic Grant news. Hart can get a bump. And then it'd be like a PJ Washington, Dennis Smith. But don't love this game too much outside of Terry.
Yeah, the flop lag on Rozier, maybe that'd be something, like you said, be able to get to him. But Locks, I'll go to you. The other thing too, the chat's usually on it by now talking about it, but centers against Charlotte. We've got Portland here, but we have Nurkic with the Q tag. So let's say he's out. We do this if-then scenario on the show all the time. What happens if Nurkic is ruled out, or some of these other guys, like even Grant is Q tag? Like, who is the guy coming in that would be the beneficiary of this matchup?
Yeah, there's actually a couple guys I was going to mention, and I think Watford is actually interesting at 4K. If Nurkic and Grant get ruled out, I think they're going to run him more. He's been hurt to start the year. They've kind of slowly brought him in a little bit, but I think he can be a stud. And then Eubank's obviously going to get more run too. So you got two guys there at 3-2 and 4K that you can plug in pretty easily if Nurkic is out. And I mean, I went with the narrative too against Charlotte all the time with center against them. So I definitely like those two guys. That's if Nurkic is out, obviously. And then Rozier, going over to him, guy shot terrible. He's 9 for 23, 1 and 9 from 3. So I love him today. I think he bounces back real nice. He's going to have less ownership just because he busted for everybody the other night. So I like him on that side. Other than that, I don't see much on the Charlotte side that I like. So he's probably going to be my only option. And then it's too hard for me with Simons when Dame's there. Other than that, those two cheap guys I said, and I don't have much interest in this game otherwise.
Yeah, and obviously the total is pretty low. That's the same thing with the original game too that we talked about. But now we get into a good one title here. I think at least Denver versus Indy. We got a 235 and a half total, 6-point favorites, Denver. What are your thoughts on this game here? Again, waiting on some stuff, I think, but just in general, I saw Duarte's out. Neesmith is questionable. They brought some guy in last week. I think it was, or last game, Nembhard or something like that. He's really cheap on the sites here. So what are your thoughts on this game? Any guys that stand out for you? Obviously, Jokic is in this too.
Yeah, Andrew Nembhard, the rookie. I probably wouldn't get there on this slate just with so much value. If it was a smaller slate, we had no value on the slate, fine. But with Campaign, Javon Carter, Bobby, like there's so much there. I don't think we need to mess with Nembhard. I'll start, the Indiana side. Miles Turner has a very good price tag at 5.7K. This team has been going through him a lot. I mean, his usage rate has been way up there. Rebounds the ball well. He's 6'6" on FanDuel, which I think is a fine price tag, and 5'7" on DK. Obviously, I think is a great price tag. So he's the one that stands out the most. I'm always good going to my guy, Tyrese Halliburton. I think the ownership's going to be down today. He has all the upside in the world. Sign me up for Tyrese at 8.6K, triple-double upside. Indiana side, like Buddy Hield, I mean, he always has the upside on a 13-game slate. He can also, his floor is definitely a lot lower at 6'4" than others in that range, though. So boomer bust tournament play. If he gets hot, we know he can fill it up. But I definitely like Miles Turner and Tyrese as my two favorite pacers. As far as the Denver side, you can always play Jokic. He's 11.6K. That's fine. I prefer Luka on FanDuel to Jokic. And Jokic, we talked about it a couple days ago. Like the usage just hasn't been there for him. He's been more passive. If I'm playing 11K plus for someone, I want the usage rate to be over 30. It's been under 30 almost every single game. So it's a no for me, but I will never tell anyone not to play Jokic. Jamal Murray is my favorite at 6.3K. Bones Highland's interesting at 4.9. I don't think I can do it on this 13-game slate. But he is an interesting one. I wish it was a smaller slate. I'd take a chance. Jamal Murray, though, is the one I like. I mean, his usage rate has been very good. He's shooting the ball a ton. His assist numbers are good. He can get in there in the mix a little bit for rebounds, and he's 6.3K. The minutes are finally there. He's back. He's shooting the ball a lot. He's going to be low owned. I think if you go a Miles Turner or a Tyrese, Jamal Murray's my favorite run back on the way back. But again, not a game I'm going to be stacking up.
Yeah, the one thing that keeps standing out to me before I come to you, Locks, is just on the slate in general, a bunch of guards that are just in great spots. Like you just love it. You already know it. You've got them plugged in. The guys are out or whatever, and you've got that set. Versus when we're talking these forwards and centers, it's like we're not 100% sure. You can wait on the news. We're going to wait later on Steven Adams, waiting on Nurkic, waiting on some more news later on where you're still looking for value in all places. But in general, that just stood out to me that we love all these guard plays and we're waiting on sort of the big guys. So Locks, give me your thoughts on this one, man. Denver, Indy, got Jokic. If you wanted to have a pay up option, we got some of the guys title talked about. And then is it Buddy Hyde, Buddy Hield? Which is it? Because I don't know. I never knew that one either. I'll wait for Big T to address me on it while you talk about it, Locks. Go ahead.
It's definitely Buddy Hield, I'm pretty sure. But okay. I don't mind him today at 6'4". I mean, the guy's been over 40 points the last 4 games, been over 35 points the last 7 games. So, yeah, he's hot and cold, but he's been hot lately. So I'm okay riding it at 6'4". Love the Halliburton call. He's always in play, possible triple-double upside all the time, every time he touches the court. So definitely interesting at 8.6. I was on Miles Turner the other night. I think I got him at super low ownership, so that was nice to have against the Pelicans. I'll be going right back to him again. Maybe not in all my lineups, but a heavy dose of him because the guy just continues to produce. He's shooting it well, 4 for 7 from 3 last game, so that's huge. But Those three guys for sure on the Indiana side. On Denver side, I like the Jamal Murray call. He's been looking good. His minutes are back, so it looks like he's kind of back or getting back to full health here and full run. So I love him anytime, because if he gets hot, he can torch it too. So him and pretty much Jokic on that side. Other than that, I have no interest in Denver at all. Definitely not a game I'm stacking, but definitely a game I'm going to have a lot of pieces from.
All right, got the official pronunciation from Big T. It's very simple, guys. Buddy Buckets. You just say it like that and you're good to go. You don't need to worry about it. But he did confirm, simple. It's like yield, it's healed. Just go with that. So Buddy Hield is in play here. Before we move on, got to talk about these likes. 600 watching, just under 200. We're usually fast as this. I can tell you, I promised you this one. We are the slowest 200 likes ever so far this season, 3 shows in. So hit that like button. It takes 2 seconds. You can type, you can hit the like. If you can't hit the like, take a hike. Always simple on this show. We talk about it plenty. Title, I'll go to you, man. Detroit at Boston. Boston, big favorites here, 226 total. What are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, not a game I love as much. The first guy that stands out is Cade Cunningham, though. You have to have a lot of interest at 7.5K. Handling the ball a ton. The usage rate, he's playing upper 30s minutes. The usage is around 30. 7.5K is a good price tag, but it is a tough matchup against Boston. That's why I just like Jaden Ivey at 5.5. I think he's fine. I would only play one of Cade and Ivey. They are 2K difference. But those are the only Detroit guys I'd get to. As far as Boston, I'm probably not going to get to Tatum at 10.3K. I will take the 1900 Jaylen Brown at 8.4K. If you want to go that route, I would be fine with like a K Jaylen Brown mini stack that you will get 12% combined between the two. Malcolm Brogdon at 5.4. I think he's fine as a last piece, but with all this value on the slate, if I have 5.4K and he fits in my guard or util spot, sure, I'll plug him in. But there's other spots that I like more in that price range. Not a game I love. It's Cade, Jaden Ivey on the Detroit side, max one of those two, and then Jaylen Brown and Brogdon. And I would also max one of those two as well.
Yeah. I don't know, Lux. Why is it always trying to jam these guys on me? Like Smart, Brogdon. Who's the other guy? They got one other dude too. Oh, Derek White. Like it just always tries to give me these guys. I separate them out and stuff, but man, it always wants to give me these guys, even when we got other value plays on the slate. Is there a reason for that? And then who are some of the guys that you like within this game yourself?
Yeah, I don't know. I've been trying to figure that out too, because I get irritated by that as well. I mean, Smart, it's crazy. Smart's one of those guys that he'll go for 40 and then he'll go for 15. So he's too hard to figure out for me. If it was between those three guys, obviously I'd max one of those three guys you just mentioned. I would never play more than one of those guys in my lineups. If I had a lean, it'd obviously be Smart for the $400 more than Brogdon. He gets the minutes consistently, plays defense, gets the steals. So I like him more than those other couple guys. Other than that, I mean, Brown and Tatum, this game's pretty easy for me. Brown, Tatum, Cunningham, and Ivey, just like I'm locked up with title on this one. Not a huge game that I'm going to be interested in, just bits and pieces, but the guard spots, and that's pretty much it in this one. I'll keep it simple.
Yeah, I will say for that FanDuel slate locking early, I also don't mind Jaylen Brown. Just he's $8,300 or something over there. And again, like I said, I don't find any small forwards that I really like that much. And if he can come through, again, you're always risking it. Full squad, right? If it's going to be his game or not. But still, I'll take a shot on him at that price over on that site. If even in a blowout or whatever, it could be because of him. So I'm okay with that. Title, come right back to you here. We got the Knicks at the Nets. We got the 3.5 spread 3.5 favorites at home, 220 total. Who do you like in this game here? This is where we talked about earlier. You got Durant in the mix. If you want to go there, you've got the other value guys, Joe Harris, Royce O'Neal, other plays like that. And then some injury news on the New York side you can talk about as well.
Yeah, Mitrov's still not going to be there, but we saw on Monday, Hartenstein was supposed to start. Everyone expected him to start, and they went with Jericho Sims. I'd expect Jericho Sims to start again. I don't know why they'd switch it up. If Hartenstein is starting, I definitely have interest, but if he's coming off the bench again, that 5.8K price tag, I don't love as much. If New York runs out the same starting lineup they did on Monday, I just am going to completely fade the team. I don't like playing Thibodeau rotations. They're pretty healthy outside of Mitch Rob. Just not going to mess with this team on a 13 game slate. 12 game slate on DK, but you get the point on a massive slate.
Feels like a massive slate no matter what. Yes, you got that right.
So 12 or 15, I mean, the same difference when it's this much. But the Knicks side, Kevin Durant, you can always play KD. On FanDuel, I think he's a good pivot off of Luka. He's still going to get some ownership over there, but price tags are similar. I think Luka's going to be higher owned. Kyrie's still not in the situation. KD's usage is skyrocket. I mean, he's over 30 pretty much every game so far this year outside of one. So KD, I think, is a very good spend up. I like him as a spend up on DraftKings too. We have enough value on this slate. I don't think the ownership's going to be too crazy. Love KD. Outside of him, Royce O'Neal probably at 5.3K is the only other one I have interest in. He's been really good for this team. He's playing a ton of minutes, uppers 30s every time, shoots the three ball. I mean, he's 8, 5, 5, 6, 6, 6, 6, 8, 9, 7. He's chucking the ball from deep. He's getting open looks. They need his rebounding. At 5.3K, a guy that's going to play about 40 minutes, I think he is also in play as well. Probably not a Claxton game for me, just center eligible, 6.5K. So I'm just seeing KD or Royce O'Neal, and that's it in this one.
Yeah, perfect. And the Dallas lineup came out. It's as was what it was expected. Powell's in that starting lineup at center too. So if you want to go there, like I said, I got no problem with that. Same game, Locks, for you. I'll pump it over to you. What are your thoughts here? Anything you want to add? The guy I continue to like on this team is Jalen Brunson. His usage has been there. He's scored over 40 points the last 3 games, I think. So definitely still have interest there at the guard spot. Just depends on how you want to go about this whole slate. I mean, there's a lot of good plays. Brunson's going to be one that I'm going to have in my pool. I mean, he's consistent across the board. He rebounds, assists, scores the points. He'll do it all. I'm not chasing the Randall game. I mean, the guy shot 8 of 13 from 3 last game. So I'm not chasing that at 7-8. The only guy I really have interest in this game on the Knicks side is Brunson. The Hartenstein, Sims, and Obi Toppin thing is just kind of scaring me because you don't know which one's going to play the minutes. I mean, Tom Thibodeau is just annoying. So if Sims starts, who the heck knows going to play all the minutes on that side. So I'm staying away. I'll be on Brunson and that's it on there. Brooklyn side, Royce O'Neal's a great call. I've been playing him the whole year. I mean, the guy gets 35, 40 minutes every game, scores upwards around 30 points every game, just about fantasy wise. So I'm going to have interest there for sure. Would have interest in Claxton, but his price tag's getting up there. And I don't know if I can pay 6.5 for him on DK today. So I'll probably stay away, and then I'll be sprinkling in a little KD. Hasn't shot the ball great, but like Title said, his usage is over 30 every game this year. So hard to get away there. Easy spend up spot. Yeah, O'Neal looks good too. I like that call. Like you said, the other studs and stuff, like Title mentioned earlier, if you could play Luka instead, if you're on FanDuel, if you're in there instead of Durant, but on DraftKings, you don't have that option. We'll wait and see what happens. But then Durant could get more usage in this spot. So I think people could go there. Title, if nothing else with this one, man, let's go on to the next one. We got Utah at Atlanta, 229 total. Atlanta's favored by 4 at home. What are your thoughts on this one? Who are some of the guys that stand out for you?
Yeah, this is one of the biggest games on the slate when it comes to injury news. Trae Young, he missed last game. If he misses again, I mean, we saw DeJounte go crazy. We saw Okongwu go absolutely crazy. I don't think I'm going to chase the Okongwu game, but man, he dunked on Giannis, I think, twice. I mean, the bench, it was a crazy game. If you played DeJounte, you ran pretty bad, actually, even though he got you 59 or something, because the bench in the fourth quarter just pulled away from Milwaukee, and that unit played so well. They kept him in all game, and they brought DeJounte back with like 4 minutes left or something. But, man, it was just a wild one. If Trae is in, so there's 2 questionable tags in this one. Jared Vanderbilt's also questionable for Utah, not nearly as important. If he's ruled out, I give bumps to like Lauri Markkanen at 7.6K, Kelly Olynyk at 5.4K. Neither of them would be like must plays by any means. I think Lauri at 7.6, though, he's played well this year without Vanderbilt. I think he'd be my favorite on the Utah side. If he's in, though, I think it's just crossing off this team. You want to get to a Jordan Clarkson. He's same as the Buddy Hield situation where I talk about it. He can fill it up. He can get hot. He also can give you a snowflake, very similar price tags. But if Trae Young's in, you could play him at 9.9, but I would try and find the money for KD. There's Booker without Chris Paul. I don't think I'd get to him, but the price tag, anytime he's below 10K, I'll never say no. If he's in, I think this game's just pretty much a fade. If he's out, DeJounte becomes a very elite play at 9.6K. Ownership will follow. John Collins gets a bump at 6.1. DeAndre Hunter also gets a big bump at 4.6K. And I don't think I'd max 1 or max 2 of those. Without Trae, I think you can play multiple of these Hawks. So it's all injury news at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. We should get this news before lock. Trae in, not a game I love. Trae out, load up DeJounte, load up DeAndre Hunter, load up John Collins. And then you can run it back with like a Clarkson or Markkanen if I'm playing multiple of them. But if I'm only playing a piece or something, I probably fade the Utah side.
Yeah, I'll kick it over to you, Locke. Same spot. Like you say, we should get the news. That's the thing about this slate. It's so big. We're still only on the earlier games. Like it's only the second set of games that we're into after the slate starts, half hour after it begins. So lots to talk about still as we go throughout this whole slate. If you guys are just joining us or on the way in, we appreciate you joining us here today. Hit that like button. We're almost to 300. We do our plays of the day at 500 likes at the end, where we've got the Goldilocks, the SO, and the Tambo Rambo Lambo. We'd love to pop those things out. So hit that like button, get those likes up. Locks, I'll go to you in the same game, man. What do you got here?
Yeah, not a ton of interest other than the two guards on the Atlanta side. Definitely interesting news. I don't know. I'm hoping we don't get the news ahead of lock, but I think we're gonna. But I have interest in Murray either way. You guys know that. I love DeJounte Murray. I just think the guy has triple-double upside every time he touches a court. So if I can get him at low ownership, I'll always take it. So I like him. If Young plays, I still like him because if Young plays, I think it takes some ownership away from Murray. So I like either one of those two guards, no matter what happens there. The rest of that team, I don't really have interest in today. I'm not going to be getting to a Okongwu. I'm not playing Capella, Collins. So really the two guards are nobody on that team for me. On the other side, Colin Sexton is a guy off the bench at 5'1" that I'd rather play. I know we were talking about Brogdon earlier, which he's not on the main slate, but I don't mind Sexton at 5'1". I mean, the guy's scored over 25 points the last 4 games at 5'1". That's a nice price tag off the bench. He's getting the run. So I don't mind him. I don't mind Clarkson at 6'4", and then Laurie at 7'6". His price tag's getting up there, but he just continues to produce. So those 3 guys on that side, the 2 guards on the other side, and that's it for me on this game.
Yeah, I don't see much else here. Even myself, like looking at this was one that I'm going to wait on the news. I know you love Murray, so that's why I wanted to ask you about that, but you already hit it. So we'll wait and see. It worked out last game when Trey was out, so as expected, but when they're both in, it's just always so hard to peg it. And you go one way, everyone goes the other. It ends up being, for me at least, always the opposite. So just looking at that game, we'll wait and see. Like Title said, we should get the news. Title, next one I'm going to bring up here, Houston at Toronto, 224.5 total. Toronto, big favorite at home. What are your thoughts on this one? Mute.
Good call. Good call. How do you not love this game? I mean, we love picking on Houston and we love playing Toronto. We know the rotation. We know they play. They're going to run their guys out a ton of minutes and they're without their best player in Pascal Siakam. So Fred VanVleet at 8.1K, Gary Trent 5.7, Scotty Barnes 7.7, OG 7K. I'm good with all of those guys. The people probably will ask like the Colocos, the Bouchers, the Precious of the world. I'm just not worrying about that situation. If you are playing any of them in 150, make a rule to max 1 at most. I'm not going to be messing with it though. Give me the 4 guys that I know are going to run out there. Fred VanVleet, OG, Scotty Barnes, Gary Trent. Max, I don't know, max 2 or 3. I definitely wouldn't play all 4, especially on a slate this big. You can definitely play more than one of them though. It'd be 2 or 3 for me. And I think you have 2 runbacks on the Houston side. You have Sengun at 6.5K. I mean, man, they don't Coloco, the Precious, Bouchers, like his usage, if you look at it, it's over 25% most games. You don't see centers as aggressive as Sengun. I think that price tag's good. He has a bunch of upside. It's an easy run back from multiple Toronto guys. So he is my favorite Houston guy. And then the other 2, we always talk about it, Jalen Green or Kevin Porter Jr. I want to say my lean is Jalen Green just because that 1,700 is a lot, but KPJ has been playing better basketball. I definitely would max one of those 2. I think they are both in play though. I think I like Sengun more than both of them, but I'm totally fine if you want to play KPJ or Jalen Green. Those are my run backs. I like the Toronto side more. You can play any of those 4. VanVleet would be my favorite in that. Gary Trent would be my least favorite because he more relies on the 3 ball, but he's also the cheapest out of Scotty and OG. So load up on Toronto. Love the spot without Siakam. And then Sengun, Jalen Green, Kevin Porter on the other side. I would rank them that way.
Yeah, the Sengun call, I like. Everyone in the chat seems to like it too. The last game too, Locks. I think it was you or Title mentioned it quick, but everyone's excited about the Sexton homecoming. So that's a thought from the previous game. You want to elaborate on it there more? If not, what do you got here in this game here with Siakam being out?
Yeah, I don't pay attention. I actually didn't even know it was his homecoming game. So I don't pay attention to all that. I know a lot of people do, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So I try not to pay attention to that stuff. But as far as this game goes, I don't know. Last time out, we kind of saw OG and Scotty kind of drop the ball a little bit, so they could lose some ownership. So that actually makes me kind of like them because I could see Scotty and OG bouncing back in this one. VanVleet's definitely always in play. I mean, at 8-1, the guy's going to chuck the whole game. We already know that. He loads up the steals, all the stat sheets. So I love him today. Whenever Siakam's out, those three guys just continue to just shoot the ball. I'm going to be off of Gary Trent. Shot pretty well last game. I just never go back to him 2 games in a row. So I'm going to be off of him. As far as the bigs go, I'm with Title. I mean, make sure you only have a max of 1. I'm going to stay away from it. I actually stayed away from it last slate too. And now they brought up Koloko from freaking 3.4 all the way up to 4.4. So I'm definitely off him. They raised his price $1,000. That whole center position, power forward is just a mess. So I'm going to stay away from those 3 guys. Really, Van Vliet, Barnes, and Anunoby for me. On the other side, Jalen Green. I mean, the guy chucks. I don't know. He's so hot and cold too. He's been frustrating the whole year. So I'll kind of just sprinkle him in, I'm guessing. KPJ, he continues to be a stud, continues to fill up the stat sheet. So I'll have him in my pool as well. And then I love the Şengün call. I love this guy. I think he can fill up the stat sheet, rebounds, assists, shooting anywhere you go. So I love that guy for sure. Definitely a great call. As far as anything else goes, I'm not too high on this game.
Yeah, that one, like I said, just a product of what you've got there already. And if you, again, like we said earlier, that we love all these guards. If you can figure out your bigs and mix them together, that's what you need to do. And again, we'll wait for some of the injury news and get all that stuff together later on. But we want to have everyone set up at least for FanDuel starting, I think, in 10 minutes, isn't it, Title? I think it goes off here pretty quick. So I'm going to edit one lineup actually as we take into this game. I was building it as we go along, but next game up is going to be Phoenix at Minnesota. Close spread. We've got injury stuff here with Chris Paul. Minnesota's at home, 222.5 point total. Title. What do you got here with this one?
Well, Minnesota side's an easy fade, so I'll just start there. I have no interest in anybody. The Phoenix side, yeah, when you're without Chris Paul, Campaign should slide into the starting lineup. He's 4.3K. I mean, he's a good basketball player too. If you been following basketball for a year or longer, you guys know Campaign. He's going to play probably about 30 minutes, 4-3. I'm not going to use the term free square ever, especially on a 12-game slate, but he will be one of the chalkiest players, one of the best salary reliefs on the slate. Next guy, Devin Booker, 9K. Without Chris Paul, though, I mean, he's going to be running the show. He's going to shoot everything. His assist rate's definitely going to go up. He's a decent rebounder. He's a very strong play, I think, at 9K, one of the best spend ups. And you don't have Luka to spend up for on DK like you do on FanDuel. So great price tag at 9K. DeAndre Ayton's the other guy of interest in. He's 6.4K. Man, I mean, just 6'4" for DeAndre Ayton. He has been disappointing this year. The floor has definitely been a lot lower than it has in the past. He still does have that 40+ point upside, though. I think I like Şengün more for a very similar price tag, and I think he'll be lower owned as well. But he's definitely in play without Chris Paul there. He should have a couple more shots. His usage should go up a little bit. Booker, Campaign, DeAndre Ayton, and that's all I'm seeing in this one. No Minnesota for sure.
Okay, interesting. I mean, I'll let Locks go first. I got to take here, but Locks, you go ahead. Same game, Phoenix at Minnesota. We talked about the CP3 stuff, brings in some of the obvious there. Who are some of the guys on the Phoenix side for you? And then anything on the Minnesota side?
Yeah, on the Phoenix side, you obviously have the obvious plays with Booker and Ayton. Those guys will just eat up a little bit more shots. I love those two anytime you play. Just to get off, just because Campaign's going to be so high owned. I mean, everybody's going to jam the guy. I'll save the $1,100 and go down to Damian Lee. I mean, I think he's going to get 25, at least 25 minutes, maybe 30. And if he can score 20, 25 points, possibly 30 if he gets hot, that's a guy I actually like for value there. Damian Lee at way less ownership than Campaign. If you want to jam him in, I love that. On the other side, not much interest in Minnesota now that Gobert's back. Obviously, we love jamming Cat when Gobert was out, but I don't know. I don't have much interest in this team. I haven't all year. Ant-Man, yeah, he has the ability to get hot, but still the ceiling isn't quite there with all those other guys in the offense. So I'm not too high on Minnesota. My main thing in this game is probably Campaign, Booker, Ayton, and Damian Lee. I'm probably going to jam more Damian Lee just because of the ownership difference.
Yeah. What about Torrey Craig?
I don't mind him. I've been on him a little bit. Last game scares me. That's too hot and cold for me. 25 and then 9. So I don't know. At 4-1, it kind of scares me now.
Okay. And then this one won't be my play of the day later on. We're still trying to we got 310-ish likes, 700 plus watching. So if you guys are just joining us, we're trying to get to 500 likes. The plays of the day will be at 500 likes. This won't be my play of the day, but my guy in the chat actually had it. So I like this call quite a bit, especially again, back to FanDuel. Again, it's just a site where I'm not seeing a good small forward option, but Anthony Edwards is cheap over there. This one always happens. You see this all the time. Everyone plays the Phoenix side for obvious reasons. They don't run it back. It's not that you have to. It's just when they see the winning lineup at the end of the night, they go, oh shit, I should have done that because I was already running these guys. And of course, this happened and they ended up going off because of it and so on and so forth. So I really like this call. Our guy in the chat had it. Edwards might be viable with everyone playing 3 Suns, even if you're only playing 2 Suns. It's not that I need them to make them go off. Their value plays with injuries on that side. Minnesota's full rack, but $7,400, pretty cheap on FanDuel. On DraftKings, you can do the same. Just giving an example of how you can get a little bit different on the slate. You're taking a risk, but it's Ant Edwards. Like the guy could go for 50, 60 points. You have no idea what he's going to do. He can also go for 20, but I'll take the risk, especially because everyone's on the Phoenix side. It's a way to make it a little bit different within this game. So give you a shot at it here if you want. Title, anything else for this game? If not, let's move on to the Pelicans and the Bulls. A tight spread, big total. What are your thoughts here on this game?
Well, yeah, I'll touch on the Ant thing really quick. I think he's a much better play on FanDuel, like you mentioned. The small forward position isn't great. The $800 savings is a lot. I mean, 8.2 is just expensive for me on DK. That's all. Sure, I'll never say no to play Ant Edwards. The dude can put up a 70 piece. He gets hot. He's going to keep chucking. On a slate this big, though, and we have a lot of injury news, I just like picking spots that teams are shorthanded. You just know the roles are a little more secure. So that's the only thing about that. And as far as the Damian Lee and Torrey Craig situation, totally fine with it. I think Torrey Craig's going to slide in the starting lineup without Cam Johnson there as well. Damian Lee's played in the mid-20s minutes. I just, again, because it's a 13 or 12 game slate, because we already have so much other value that I feel more comfortable with, I'm not going to be taking on that risk as much, but I totally get it. Good, solid tournament play, a 150 play, but just know there is some risk with those plays. I mean, Damian Lee could go out there, run 30 minutes and shoot the ball 5 times, 3 times, and no one would be surprised. So that's the only thing I got to touch on that, but totally makes sense.
He has to do what he did last game, Title. That's how it works. Whatever he did last game, we're getting it again this game. Yeah. Damian Lee's coming through for the people.
I wish it worked like that. Life would be a lot easier, that's for sure. But going to the Pelicans and the Chicago game, not a game I don't see value in this game. It's if I'm going to play anyone, I'm going to pick out the studs, starting with Zion at 8.3K. I mean, it's Zion. You can always play him. I think Brandon Ingram has a good price tag at 7.9 as well. I would max one of the two if I'm playing them. As far as the Chicago side, Vucevic at 8K, Levine at 7.4. Fine, I guess. Max one of them. If you land on these guys, I think it's fine, but I do not like this game. I do not like the value. We have 2 healthy teams. Zion's my favorite play for sure. We just 8-3. We know his upside is really, really big. So he's my favorite in this one. It's not a game I'm going to get too much. If you play some of the studs, if you play one of them, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Got the lineups in on FanDuel, so we're all set. My guy, Nicholas Coley in the chat. He got me to switch it at the last second for that one. I'll edit it later. I'm going to have one with Anthony Edwards for sure, but he got me on another one as I was looking at it with D-Russ in a Luka version. That's why I had to edit because Luka's about to start his game here. Title, thank you for talking me into Luka off the top. Not that it was, it's Luka, but still, I didn't have enough of my 5 lineups. I need to get a little more Luka exposure, so I'm good with that. Locks, your thoughts here, man? Anything you got to add from what Title said?
Not really. Sorry, I was just trying to jam in my.
Do the same. We know what it is. It's
everyone
lineup. That's watching this is putting lineups in. Yeah. We're putting them in too, and we can't help. That's why I said Title likes it so much. I said you shouldn't wear that hat today. Not a lot of people are happy when FanDuel does this. I get his angle where he's coming from, but for me, I'm like, man, I can just put the lineups for later. But you do have to make those decisions. And when we had actual injuries up front, like if Paolo Banchero, Big T coming on that one. Paolo Banchero, yeah, when he comes in and plays, it's like, okay, maybe, we don't have to worry about it as much, but Luka, you can play on any slate. So I was just doing the same, Locks. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I was making sure I had Okiki in there. I took him out just so you guys know, whoever's watching. I took Okiki out. There's other power forward spots I want to get to. So Luka's my only one in the early game.
Okay.
As far as this game goes, Pelicans, Bulls, I've liked Pat Williams. I've been playing him at his value price pretty much every week or every game for the most part. I mean, it's 26, 15, 28, 22. Now he's at 4-4. So I'll be a little bit more lenient to play him. I probably still have him in my pool. He's actually been getting the minutes. Looks okay. I like Vucevic actually a lot here. I picked on the Pelicans last game with Miles Turner. I think I might pick on him again with Vucevic. It's another team that I think centers just kind of have good games against. So yeah, Drummond's back, but I still like Vucevic at 8K. I like DeMar. I like Levine. That's pretty much it on that side. I don't like any of the bench guys. On the Pelican side, you can always play Zion. The dude's just a freak athlete, absolutely insane. And then Ingram's back, so I like him. And then I like McCollum as usual, but he's been kind of, I don't know, he's had a rough go since Ingram and Zion both came back. So that offense is hard to figure out. Really, Zion over there, the few guys I talked about on the Bulls side, and I don't know. I see this being under the 232, to be honest with you.
There's a bet for you too. I mean, the chat talked about Drummond being back too. I kind of, that's what I was seeing when I was looking into it today, and agree a little bit with them on the Pat Will thing. I was with you. I was using your Pat Will value play last week a bunch. It was helping me out a ton, but when it comes down to this, that just made me sort of get off it a little bit. And it's so hard in this game for me to pick sides like Vooch. If you want to go there, Levine, right? You've got Zion, of course, you can play him anytime. Ingram's back now and has been doing his thing a little bit, but it's not like he never ceilings out, it seems. So I have a hard time with this one too, even though it's got the total and the spread, just not something that I love when we got all these other options. Maybe this next game though, Title, my guy, John Morant, baby, let's go. Memphis versus San Antonio in San Antonio, 234 point total. Memphis favorite 5.5 on the road. What are your thoughts of this one?
Yeah, your boy Ja is definitely in play today. I mean, we have the value on this slate, the good price tag at 10-1, coming off a 60 piece. I mean, you look at the usage in his last 4 games, 40, 44, 29, 41. Like you don't see 40 plus usage rate in 3 or 4 games. I mean, for this price tag at 10-1, I am totally good with him. Desmond Bane's the only other Memphis guy I'd get to as well. I would only play one of Bane or Ja because of their price. I mean, you add those salaries up and you play both of them, you're going to need 100 plus from them combined, and it still might not even be enough. So one of Bane or Morant's, I think they're both very strong plays. Bane is shooting guard and small forward eligible as well. San Antonio side's definitely more interesting. The first 2 weeks, I know San Antonio, when we were on this Wednesday show, were pretty popular. Last week was because Devin Vassell was injured, and the week before it's because were priced down. They were all priced down. The highest guy was like 6K or something to start the season. But Devin Vassell's back. He came off the bench his first 2 games. I know for sure the first game when he came back. He finally did start last game. His usage rate has been really high his past 3 games. This team just doesn't have anyone. I mean, they're tanking. So Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, Trey Jones, they're just running them out a lot. They're shooting the ball a lot. I really like Devin Vassell at 6'5", guard and small forward eligible as well. Keldon Johnson I like as well, 7.3K. Probably would max one of those two. Playing more than one Spur on this slate would probably feel pretty gross to me, but I think those two are good plays. Jakob Poeltl at 6'7". Again, I prefer Sengun right in that price range. There's Ayton right in that price range as well, but Jakob Poeltl is going to be completely forgotten because what's around him. So good with him at 6'7". Trey Jones at 5'8". It's fine. I don't love it though. Devin Vassell is definitely my favorite play in this game though. John Bane, totally good with. Devin Vassell on the other side, Keldon on the other side is how I'd approach this one.
Yeah, I think
and I will mention too, Steven Adams is questionable. So if he is ruled out, Brandon Clark slides back into the starting lineup. He played poorly or didn't perform well on Monday. He still played 30 minutes though. Anytime you get 30 minutes from Brandon Clark, especially against this front court with no Steven Adams there, he would become a very elite play as well. So more news we do have to monitor.
Yeah, I like that quite a bit, actually. That's a great call. And that's one of the ones, like, I'm sure this might be something Locks was thinking about earlier because he was talking about Okiki in there and said, actually, I like some potential other power forwards. You can use them, in different spots. But I think when you look at a guy like Brandon Clark, he'd be someone you'd be interested in if Adams is ruled out. So Locks, thoughts on this game, man? It looks like we got a better spot here. And it's funny because like Title said, last 2 Wednesdays on this show, we've been talking about Spurs guys, but that was for totally different reasons this week. And then the chat dropped that, I got to trust the chat. The chat's good people. They said last time Ja faced these, he dropped 52 real life points on the Spurs. So damn, I would love to see that. I love Ja. Go ahead, Locks. What do you got here with this one?
Yeah, he took the words right out of my mouth on the Brandon Clark. I was hoping he wouldn't touch on it, but
I almost forgot to. You almost got me.
I know. Steven Adams is definitely questionable. 30 minutes out of Brandon Clark at 4-5. I mean, you got to love it. Yeah, did he have a letdown last game? Sort of, but that can easily turn around. The guy can get a double-double in a heartbeat if he plays 30 minutes again. So I love that play there. I don't think Steven Adams plays tonight, but I could be wrong. If he does, well, then I'm not playing Clark. That's just how that's going to be. I'll be on Morant, Bain. Love those two guys. Never been high on Brooks or how was it? Aldama or something?
Santi, yeah.
Aldama.
I think
I'm
it's
acting like
Aldama.
I know names now. Like, my pronunciation is perfect as I get corrected all show. But yeah, go ahead. What do you got?
Easy enough. He doesn't have really a ceiling for me to get there. So Morant, Bain, and then it's huge on the injury news from Adams for me. If Adams is out, like I said, I'll be on Clark quite a bit. I think he bounces back. On the other side, Vassell and Johnson, that's it for me. I don't like Podol. The usage hasn't been there. He doesn't have that high of a ceiling that I've seen this year yet. So Johnson and Vassell for me, sprinkle in a little Trey Jones in my 150 and call it a night.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. Titled, the chat came through. Luka, 46% owned in the 222. These sites need new ownership projections. My goodness.
I'm telling you, Tambo. I try to tell you.
That's why I didn't take the bet, though. I know you, and you're a nice guy. He's a good friend. I know he could just sucker me right in so quick, but we had a bet pre-show. I was going to say lower than a number, a lot less than that. So I thank you for that title. I do appreciate it. Guys, we also appreciate it if you hit that like button, keep asking for it, but we got to get to 500. There's people in the chat of the 750 plus watching that would love to have the plays of the day at the end from title and from locks. And then they'll just take mine if they get it and run with it. But I had a couple good calls.
Don't sell yourself short.
Last 2 weeks. So last week was solid again. Nurk came through big that night. So I'm happy with that one. I got a good one for today. We've talked about him. We just don't know who it is, who I'm going to get really excited about at the end. But I'll go over to you here, Locks, for this one first. We'll move on to this next game. We got Milwaukee at OKC. I would usually go to title first, but no Giannis. No, Drew, his boys aren't playing even. So it does make for an interesting spot, though, for this slate. Plenty of injury spots here. So go ahead, Locks, take over. 212 is the total.
Those are my boys, too. You forget you got two Wisconsin guys on this one. So
that's true. I just never seen the videos of you in the Deer District going ham. So
I was at one of the finals games when they played the Suns. So
okay.
Definitely a fun time. Yeah, it sucks whenever those two aren't playing. It's hard to choose who's going to get the run. I think we're going to get a heavy dose of Javon Carter at the point, so I don't mind him at 3.9. The interesting spot here that I think a lot of people are going to go to is they're going to play Nwora over Beauchamp. So I like Beauchamp, to be honest with you, at 3.3. He's $300 less. I'm going to go him instead of Nwora because I think Nwora is going to garner more ownership. I could be wrong there too. But either one of those guys you want to plug and play, either one of them. The biggest beneficiary, and we saw it last time, is Bobby Portis. I'm going Bopo over Brolo today, as we talked about last week. So yeah, I'll be high on Bobby Portis for sure. And I also think it helps Grayson Allen at 4.6. I think he's going to chuck. I could see him scoring 25, 30 points. So I don't mind him at 4.6 price tag either. Going to the other side, I think with Holiday out, with Giannis out, SGA just absolutely smashes here. So I love him. Giddey's always a decent play. And then the rest of this team, I can't get behind the rest of this team. They're so hard to predict who's going to get the minutes, and it's just a mess. So really SGA and Giddey on that side, I could pretty much plug and play the whole team on Milwaukee. You just got to choose your value on that side, to be honest with you.
Yeah, title. I don't think I'm allowed to make Bopo my play of the day, am I? This guy's going to be 100% owned or something on both sites. It feels like it anyway, but yeah, getting up there now. We're almost to that 400 likes. So I think with these last couple games, we got this game that you're going to round us out. I got some questions for you. We got about 15 minutes left, but we got the Battle of LA, and then we got Cleveland, Sacramento to round things out. But title, I got to ask you. So obviously Bopo, our guy, Bobby Portis, is getting plugged in. Usage rate through the roof. He was already a good play with Drew out last night, them saying that news. And then today it's like, by the way, Giannis is going to be out too. So makes it pretty obvious, but more news coming in the chat live as we speak. So we'll catch on that in a minute because we got some interesting spot. We got a good spot here actually to talk about in a second. Yeah. We got the Nurk and Grant news. Both will be out. Eubanks will start. That's that matchup against Charlotte. So that's some big news for the slate, but we'll go back to that. We'll circle back in a second. Title Bobby Portis and who? And like, do you care about rotations when they're already this cheap and that many guys out? Do you just slide everybody in? What's your thoughts on how you attack it from this spot?
Yeah, this is definitely an interesting spot. I mean, so who's going to start? I assume Bobby Portis is going to slide into the starting lineup and play the 4. Who's going to start at point guard? Are they going to put George Hill in the starting lineup and Javon still play the 2? Is Javon Carter going to slide to the 1, Grayson 2, start a Nwora or a Beauchamp? There's a lot of different options the Bucks can do. Again, I feel confident Bobby starts, and the other piece, probably I want to say is going to be George Hill, but I would not be surprised to see Beauchamp or Wara as well. But it really doesn't matter too much for me. Bobby Portis, everyone's going to play him, highest owned on the slate. He's a great play. That's all I got to say there. Javon Carter as well. I think he's also one of the highest owned on the slate. He's 3.9K. He's been starting in place of Middleton anyway, so he's going to continue to start. His role is going to improve even more. Grayson Allen, I definitely like at 4.6K. I mean, I like all these Bucks at the end of the day. They just don't have a lot of bodies. I mean, Serge Ibaka, the Bucks have hated running him out too much. Thanasis, Sandro, they don't like playing them. If you don't count Serge, Thanasis, and Sandro, there's 8 bodies right there. Now, I do expect Serge to get some minutes. Who knows? Bud might throw in one of those two a little bit as well, but they pretty much have 8 bodies. And anytime that's the case, you load up on a team like that. I like Wara a lot at 3.6K. He's going to chuck the ball a lot. He can get hot. He can fill it up. Him and Beauchamp, I don't think the ownership's going to be very high if they are not in the starting lineup. One of them does end up starting. The ownership will definitely go up, but I think you can play them off the bench as well. I prefer Wara just because I've seen it in the past. I know he's going to chuck. Whereas Beauchamp, the rookie, I think there's a little more unknowns there. But Brook Lopez, 5.9K. I mean, the ownership, I don't think was going to be very high. It even goes down more. The whole center position, now that Eubanks is there for cheap as well, that'll be interesting. Does he get the ownership? Is it going to be a stars and scrubs route? But it'll make Brook Lopez lower owned for sure. If I'm going to rank these guys, I'm going to say Bobby Portis, Javon, Wara. No, I'm going to say Bobby, Javon, Grayson Allen, Wara. And then if it's George Hill starting, it's him. If Beauchamp starting, it's him. And then Brook Lopez. But how many can you play? People are probably wondering what's the max. 4 or 3. I don't know. 3 or 4. 4, I don't think I'd love too much. But if you're playing a 3.2K George Hill who's starting, a 3.6K Wara, 3.9 Javon Carter, and then you play Bobby or something like that, they're all cheap and you can fill out the rest of your lineup with studs. So I think 4 max would be mine. I wouldn't play like Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, and Grayson Allen probably is 3 of the 4. I would take 2 of the more value pieces. As far as the OKC side, it's just SGA or bust. And how do you not love SGA? The dude is a complete stud, taking another step this year. He's the whole offense. He's 9.1K only. He should be 10.1K. So if you're playing all these Bucks, I think you have a very easy run back with SGA. Best ball defender. Drew Holiday isn't there. I think he can have his way against this team. So it's all the Bucks. See the starting lineup. Javon and Bobby are by far the most popular. SGA on the other side, and I wouldn't touch anyone else.
Great breakdown of it. I already have fear that George Hill is going to bust up my Javon Carter ownership here, but we'll see how that plays out. I really don't want that to happen. I like Javon Carter. He feels like a guy that just, even when he starts slow, picks it up and will.
No, Javon will for sure be popular because he's going to start where he's been start. Yeah. George Hill's the one. If he does start at the one with that, whoever starts, Wara, Beauchamp, Hill, those are the guys that's going to get the increased ownership.
I will say I'm probably not playing George Hill even if he starts.
Yeah, no, he's definitely my least favorite, but
yeah, I think he's garbage. I'm not playing him no matter what.
I like it. Yeah. I like this guy Javon Carter anyway, so I'm going to stick with him. Let's move on. I'll go back to you here, Locks. Battle of LA. We've got Lakers versus the Clippers. 219.5 is the total. Decent, closer spread, 3 points. What are your thoughts on this one here?
Yeah, definitely interesting. Not a game I'm going to stack. There's bits and pieces. I mean, anytime you get the Lakers and Clippers, you got pieces you for sure want to play. The guys on the Clippers side, I'll start with Terrence Mann. Came out last game, started 4-1 and scored. I mean, he was 3-3 last game. They upped him to 4-1 now. But, I mean, 26, 32 points the last couple games. I think he's just going to continue to play a little bit more. Yeah, John Wall's back, so maybe I'll be a little bit more iffy on him this game. Paul George is always a smash play. The guy does it all: steals, rebounds, points, threes, anything across the board. So I'll have Paul PG-13 for sure. Not high on any of the bench guys, really. Powell doesn't really do much. John Wall doesn't play much. He doesn't play enough to really do a whole lot. So really on that side, Terrence Mann, Paul George, maybe a little Marcus Morris. And then actually the guy I do like at 6'6" is Zubac. I think he has a good game. Bigs seem to crush LA because they don't play defense. So I wouldn't mind him. Definitely a double-double incoming, I think, from him. On the other side, LeBron, AD, are they both questionable like every other game?
No, they were going to play.
They're going to play. So, I mean, you can jam them in. Obviously, AD's still under 10K. So anytime he's under 10, I'll play him. Definitely a guy I can get to for sure. And then there's just other injury news too there that I'm waiting on. What about Lonnie Walker and all them guys?
I think he just got ruled out.
Yeah,
When
he
we were
did.
on the
show. Yeah, I was trying to follow it along.
When we were on the show, I think 15 minutes ago, he was ruled out.
Out with an illness. Okay. So the guy I like actually more when he's ruled out is Troy Brown. I don't mind him. He'll get 25, 30 minutes. So decent play there at his 4K price tag. And then Russ off the bench continues to just eat. So hard to get away from him. They upped his price a little bit, $800. So maybe a little bit more worry on him, but him off the bench, that's been a thing this year. He's looked actually way better off the bench than he did starting.
Yeah. Okay. I like it. I liked Paul George, who you talked about there too. Just again, another guy that you can fit in that has the floor ceiling combo, right? And you don't know what you're going to get out of it, but if you do get the ceiling, we've seen some huge games, one at least this season where he went absolutely off, broke the slate. Decent spot here. You mentioned the other side. There's some value plays that you can plug in for the Lakers. So I like that. We're just over 100 likes shy. Final game, guys. So almost 800 watching. Now's your chance to hit it. If you haven't already, if you want those plays, grab your kids' iPads, grab your wife's phone, do whatever you got to do. Click that like button. We got about 100 to go. Locks, I'll go back to you here right away, man, to round it out. Cleveland at Sacramento.
You just knew I was going to
title for that game.
You just knew I was going to say fade, and he said move on. No, I don't. I really was going to say fade. I mean, you can always play PG, you can always play AD, but now with John Wall back, with LeBron back, the 12-game slate, there's so many options. I mean, give me John Morant, give me KD, Booker, all them in the same range as the PGs and the ADs. So Tambo, you're a smart man. Skip me because I said skip.
You know what? I could have bought us more time. That was a bad move, but what it was Locks did such a good job breaking it down that I felt like we literally covered every angle, and you were chiming in on the injuries. Like Lonnie got ruled out last. So I was thinking we had it together, but I'm turning JSU mode on here where on the Print Factory, you always got to give one skip a show. So not too bad. First skip of the season. Locks, I'll keep it with you. Like I said, last game of the slate, Cleveland, Sacramento, 226.5 total. What are your thoughts here on this one?
I don't know. I hate these late games because I like a lot of early stuff and I hate waiting. So I'm not a patient waiter, to be honest with you. I generally don't play a whole lot of these last games, but on the Cleveland side, I'll start with them. Mitchell's obviously always a stud. He's under 10K still. He's at 9.3. Anytime he's under 10, under 9.5, I'm going to play him. I mean, the guy's a stud. He can fill up the stat sheet as well. Darius Garland has actually looked good alongside of him, 38 and 40 points last couple games. I think it was, 3 games ago, he had 62 fantasy points. Maybe that was without Mitchell, but definitely an interesting.
No, play. that was last Wednesday when we were on the show, and you thought he was going to be a little higher owned. His ownership was still 1% owned, and he got the job done his first game back. Yeah,
so I like him even alongside Mitchell because I think it just frees him up a little bit, to be honest with you. And he's still only $6,900. I'm not a big LeVert fan, so I won't be having him at all. He doesn't get enough usage with those two guys on the floor, and then the bigs over there. I don't know. They're too hard to predict too. One of them has a good game. The other one sucks. Then it's opposite. So I don't know. I'll probably stay away from them. Too many other spots at the power forward and center position I want to get to. And then Kevin Love is interesting off the bench. They still got him down at 4.9. I mean, he's been 28, 30, 35 fantasy point producer even off the bench. So you can get there at 4.9. I've definitely seen worse options. On the other side, Fox continues to be a beast. So, I mean, I'll play him. His usage is over 25, 30, even at 38 in some games. So I'll be playing him a little bit. And then at 4.2, I don't mind Monk off the bench. He played 30 minutes last game, 41 fantasy points. The guy just gets in, and his mission is to chuck as many shots as he can while he's on the floor. So if he gets hot, definitely a guy they'll keep in. He could break it too at 4.2. So those pieces, other than that, not too high in this game, like I was saying earlier. Yeah,
something you need to have a late hammer. I don't know if Title you think the same, but give us your thoughts on this one. We are 75 away from the plays of the day. We tried to push it. Last call for the plays of the day. If not, we'll put them in the Discord for everybody. Title, your thoughts, Cleveland, Sacramento?
Yeah, you definitely don't need a late piece. I mean, I already so we have 2 games at 10 p.m. Eastern. Otherwise, the other ones, the last game's at 8 p.m. Eastern. I don't like the Lakers and Clippers game. This game I have a little more interest, but only a couple pieces. Garland for sure, 6'9". The price tag just feels wrong. He plays alongside Mitchell just fine. He's going to chuck a lot, mid-20s usage. It's just a bad price tag in a good game environment. The Kevin Love, the Jarrett Allen, the Mobleys of the world, I probably max one. None of them stand out as elite plays. I think Jared Allen is my favorite at 6'7". Again, all these, I feel like I said like 5 guys in that mid 6K range at the center position. And now that we have Drew Eubanks starting for cheap, I haven't ran numbers or seen if he's going to be like the chalk now. But if he's the chalk, going a different route at center and going in the mid 6K range, Allen has a ton of upside there. I think he'd be my favorite of the 3. On the Sacramento side, you can play Sabonis at 8.5K. The minutes have been there recently. His production has been there. Again, a center position. He should be low owned. I like Malik Monk though. 4.2K. I mean, the dude is I've always liked Malik Monk. He's a hooper. He comes in, he chucks, he can fill it up. He gets hot. He's going to stay in longer. He's going to keep chucking. With all this other value on the slate, Malik Monk's not going to be 4% owned, 5% owned by any means. He could be 10%, 12% though. And I know a guy that's going to come off the bench, chuck the ball, could have a 30% usage rate and has seen 30 minutes so far this year. Give me Malik Monk as my favorite Sacramento King, and I'm good with him at 4-2. So Garland, Monk, my 2 favorites. Allen, Sabonis, fine. But outside of that, Garland and Monk are the main ones.
Yeah, I like the Monk call. That's what, Locks had it a couple weeks ago when it was contrarian that slate and just crushed. So love to see that. We did not hit the likes. Not going to keep rolling for them. We didn't get there today, so they will go into the Discord. Over 800 watching. We couldn't get there, but maybe next week we'll circle back and try again. I know it's not the slate for everyone. Some people with these bigger slates, they take them off. Maybe I'll give my play of the day, and Locks and Title, you guys hold yours. I'm a nice guy. You guys keep the good plays for the chat, and I'll give mine. That's what we'll do on the way out. So hit the like button if you're still here with us. Any final thoughts, Title, from you before we get out of here?
No, FanDuel already locked, so we got 12 games to worry about. The Bucks situation and campaign. I mean, Giannis out, Drew out, Chris Paul out, Javon Carter, Bobby Portis campaign, 3 mega chalk. Decide what you want to do with that. Trae Young news is interesting. Again, we got the Eubanks now starting, Justice Winslow starting. We have all the value in the world. So you want to play KD, John Morant. I think you can jam 2 studs on this slate. And I doubt that's going to be the optimal approach. So you get a little different roster construction that way. Check the Up to Lock show. We always have a bunch of news, core plays, playbook as always. But it's a fun slate, 12 gamer. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, and Locks, your final thoughts before we get out of here, and then I'll go to my play of the day, and we'll head over to the Discord at Run Pure Sports.
Yeah, not much to add. Just pay attention to the Discord. Obviously, you got a couple of us coordinators that are in there, Up to Lock, giving you injury news, answering your questions. I'll probably be in there tonight. So just pay attention to Discord, obviously, minute by minute. I mean, we go through it. You guys ask questions. We update you on the injuries. Just stay up to it because there is injury news every 10 minutes. So just pay attention to that. Be ready to rock, and we'll pick you guys some winners.
Yeah, and the people love it. Some of the members that are here watching the free show just because it's free and then they'll move into our Up to Lock show after are loving this because they say, not everyone gets the free plays today. They'll be in the Discord, but if you want them, we're always willing to give them out. I'm still going to give mine. I'm a nice guy. Save the good ones for the Discord, but I'm going back to my guy, Scary Terry. Terry Rozier, like you said, Locks, earlier, just missed a bunch of shots. He won't be, super low owned or anything like that, but now I think it's interesting too if you get to like Eubanks and him together. Others are going to we named so many guards that at least it will keep them in check. And if you can just get that flop, like that is the Tambo Rambo Lambo play of the day. We appreciate you guys being here with us. As always, just about got the 450 on the way out. We'll try again next time. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't to get access and notifications for all of our other free shows. But that's going to do it for today. For Locks, for Title, for Simon behind the scenes, I'm Toe Tag and Tambo. Simon, get us out of here, man.